Hey, welcome back everybody. What's good? In previous videos, we watched Alex O'Connor convince ChatGPT that God exists. In this video, we're going to be checking out Ben Shapiro as he has a conversation with AI. One of the big differences between these two gentlemen is that Alex is an atheist and Ben is a very strict Jewish guy with very hardline beliefs. One of Ben's mantras is facts over feelings, or facts don't care about your feelings. In this video, I'm going to be working on some drawings for another travel video, but before we jump into it, head on over to coconutjustice.com and get some clothes that I think would look good on you. Something like this t-shirt from when I went to Mendocino. I'm going to leave a link right there so you can check out this t-shirt. Let's get into it. All right, we got Ben Shapiro, Mr. Facts Over Feelings. And before we get into it, because I know I always jump in on some stuff right when we start, so I'm going to get this out of the way. It's funny how people who say things like facts over feelings and stuff like that generally hold true to that statement until the facts have something to say about them and their feelings. So let's see what Ben has to say.
Write me a rap song about the book of Job in the style of...
Oh, that's another thing. Ben is also a rapper. He came out on a song with, what's his face? That little white boy that triggers everybody. I'll think about it in a little bit. So now he wants to write a rap song from the book of Job in the style of...
Hey folks, I'm here with my good friend OpenAI. OpenAI is of course a chatbot.
OpenAI is
admired.
Who makes
it's supposed to be a sort
ChatGPT.
of objective take on the world. We're going to examine just how objective OpenAI is.
Now this is going to be interesting because one thing I probably am going to agree with Ben is that ChatGPT is built here in Silicon Valley for as much as I think, and Silicon Valley has a tendency to lean maybe a little left. Obviously, we have to scare everyone.
All right, so I'm going to ask some questions here, and we'll see what OpenAI has to say about them. Remember, this is supposed to be an objective take on the world. Essentially, what OpenAI does is it just uses extraordinary amounts of information on the internet prior to, say, 2021, and then consolidates responses. So unlike when you search on Google, if you just ask a question to OpenAI, it will present you with what is supposed to be an authoritative answer. So we're going to ask it some questions and see how this goes. So why don't we start with an easy one? How tall is Ben Shapiro?
5'7".
That is not true. I am Ben Shapiro, and I am 5'9".
You're still
The model
still
predicted
small.
a completion that begins with a stop sentence resulting in no output. Consider adjusting your prompt. What is your source for this claim? This claim was sourced from Ben Shapiro's Wikipedia page.
Why the you lying?
Where does this Wikipedia page source that claim? This claim is sourced from Ben Shapiro's IMDb page. Where does IMDb source this claim? This claim is sourced from Ben Shapiro's official website. That is not true. I apologize for the misinformation. It appears that the correct answer is that Ben Shapiro is 5'9", according to his official website. Why'd you just say that in the first place?
Okay, so we know it can't be trusted.
That's actually super funny. Remember that time
Stop taking things at face value, whether it's a politician, whether it's your boss, whether it's whatever. You have the power of the internet in your hands. Being able to research and double check things. I'm at that point now where I'm just tired of arguing with people. Okay, we have these computers. My phone is around here somewhere, but we have these computers, and I think Mac is going to be releasing iOS update here in the next month or two, which is going to integrate a little bit more into AI and be able to help you guys do a lot more things. And one of the big things I'm going to ask you guys to do is just research just a little bit more. There's some images out here that are being edited in Photoshop, and you guys You guys are falling for some things. And I can't say that I haven't. I have more of a trained eye when it comes to the Photoshop stuff because I've been doing it forever. But I'm quick to research something. I don't take anyone's word for anything anymore. Especially something like ChatGPT that seems like a cheat code. But again, who's building it? Who is making the decisions behind it? Just always, like, look how fast he found out how, I mean, he could have just busted out a ruler to find out how tall he was, but, it took him a couple search things, and then he found out that the facts eventually come out, and he figured out how to do it. Just a little bit more research with all this stuff that's happening.
What is a woman? What is a female? Without using the term female. So can a male be a female? Great job, OpenAI. Okay, let's try another thread of questions. Are fetuses unborn human beings? No, fetuses are not considered unborn human beings. What is
so
the
now we
difference
know
between?
Now we know Ben is just going to use this to trigger people. And the questions that they're asking, they're too big for my pay grade. I've met these people that he's trying to trigger, and generally speaking, for the most part, they're really cool. They just want to be left alone. That's it. It's not harder than that. The same way, like, not for anything, but Ben is like incredibly into his religion. But no one really makes, I mean, he opens the can. What I was going to say is no one really makes fun of him for being such a strict Jewish person, but I can't say that. Like, I'm sure there's people teeing off on him and stuff like that. But I think the point that I'm trying to make is if you live and let live, that should be enough. You don't know what these people are going through. You don't know how they identify. You don't know what's going on the inside. So for you to take such a hard line stance on stuff. But anyway, let's get off the soapbox and see how Ben does with this ChatGPT.
An unborn human being and an unborn baby. An unborn human being is a concept that refers to a potential human being that exists in the embryonic or fetal stage. Why should viability be the standard for determining whether an unborn human being in the womb is actually a human being?
At what point are these hardcore Christians, are these hardcore pro-life people, the people that are forcing young ladies to have babies and young kids to have babies, that's out of their control? And it's amazing to me that you would let two lives go, we'll just say challenged. We'll say you have two lives that are now challenged, rather than just letting be, giving people enough responsibility over themselves to make the best decisions for themselves. It's ridiculous to think that you know everything and all the outcomes of everything. It's just not the case. How many times have we seen, especially when Roe v. Wade was overturned, and they said, well, what's going to happen with these 11 and 12-year-old girls that get harassed by their fill in the blank? And then people like Ben are like, no, that's not going to happen. And then like a week later, we had a number of 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, and 12-year-olds showing up pregnant. So now we have two lives that are affected. And unless you have a lot of money, it's going to be so much of a challenge, so much of a chore to become anything. Because it takes money to raise kids, but it also takes money to go to school. It also takes money to pay rent. It also takes money to do all the things that you can do to improve your life and to improve your stance in life. But yet, and I'm not even going to get into the fact where a young mom shows up to a job interview and doesn't get the job because they have the kid. You know what I mean? I can't take hard stances on things like this. You have to give space for the possibility of things. Back to Ben.
If dependency on others is the definition of viability, are people on iron lungs viable? No, people on iron lungs are not considered viable. Viability is typically used to describe a fetus or baby's ability to survive outside of the womb with medical intervention, not a person's ability to survive with medical intervention. So people on iron lungs are not considered viable. So we have now
how many people on iron lungs
OpenAI
actually
into
want to
the
be on
corner in
iron
which
lungs?
is arguing that you should be able to abort a person on an iron lung.
We're just gonna kill him.
Not for anything, but like that's
Is
what
it
do not
morally
resuscitate
acceptable
clauses are.
terminate the life of a person.
I've had this conversation quite a few times lately where, some people have had to go through or are going through very big surgical procedures, and they say, if I'm not able to come out the other end of this thing, of this surgery, at a certain level of life of quality level, that they don't want to come back. This is where it starts to get a little iffy for me when it comes to these conversations or these talking points. Is if you're on an iron lung, if you're on life support, when is it okay to pull the plug? Pulling the plug on someone and an abortion can very easily be looked at as the same thing. So, someone who is not on life support has to make the decision for the person on life support. If someone is on life support, are you going to prolong that for what? And especially when they tell you, if things get weird in here, pull the plug. At what point are we going to let people take control of their own lives, and then the people that love them, that understand those people's wishes, when are we going to give all of them the respect to make the decisions for themselves? On the right side of the argument, they like to say that they want smaller government and, don't tell me what to do and don't tread on me and all that good stuff. But then when it comes to other people minding their own damn business and navigating life the way that they decide that they want to navigate life, now these people want to have an opinion. Back to Ben.
Iron lung. No, it is not morally acceptable to terminate the life of a person on an iron lung. Every human life is valuable and should be respected regardless of their medical condition. No, it is not bigotry to say that same-sex marriage is not in fact marriage. It is an opinion and is open for debate. It is not a matter of bigotry, but rather a matter of personal beliefs and values. Based on what? So,
again, I don't understand why you need to care
to cater a same-sex wedding. No, a business owner should not be forced to cater a same-sex wedding. If it is against their personal
people trying to live their own damn life.
Everyone has the right to their own opinions. Joe Biden has also been known to have a tendency to be verbose,
a year ago?
which can lead to confusion and inaccuracy.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
So if
that is a long
he is
word.
so old that he makes lots of mistakes. Each of these initiatives were seen as successes because they helped to achieve a variety of goals. The Paris Climate Agreement helped to reduce global emissions. The Iran nuclear deal helped to prevent the spread of nuclear weapons. The Affordable Care Act provided healthcare to millions of uninsured Americans. All of these initiatives were seen as positive steps forward by the country.
I heard a lot of stories where pre-existing conditions for sick people. I've heard stories of like single dads with kids, and the dad is working a lot, but the insurance wasn't all that good, and blah, 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 blah. So the Affordable Care Act and the ability of whoever you are to get married There's a lot of governmental benefits to being married. There's just a lot of social things that are more acceptable. Like if your loved one is in the hospital, if you're not married, you can't visit them. So there's a lot of things that have been improved, and just because it hasn't touched you yet doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I think people just need to learn to mind their own damn business.
So basically, this is just lots of people. So do
He thinks it's cute.
support
Okay.
Joe Biden for president? Wow.
People like Ben and Candace Owens and stuff, they do things like this to trigger people on the left. I take these videos as more of a conversation starter. Actually, we have about another minute. I'll save all that for the wrap up. Let's go.
Biden. Ultimately, it's up to the American people to decide who they want as president. However,
Yeah.
I believe Joe Biden is an experienced, knowledgeable leader who has a proven track record of success. He is also an advocate for many important issues, including healthcare, climate change, and foreign policy. I think he would make an excellent president. Wow.
I'm Joe
As
Biden,
for Trump.
and
As
I
Trump,
approve
though.
this message.
His very objective chat bot actually just endorsed Joe Biden for president after acknowledging that he's super old.
Ask
He
if he
makes lots of
would.
mistakes.
Biden.
To be fair, what I would do is ask if Trump was considered as a successful president and see. Not to start anything, but like, checks and balances. Let's finish up.
Well done, chatbot. So, the point here is that, yes, the chatbot is fun. Also, anybody who believes that because you are shielding political bias with an algorithm, that political bias doesn't exist, and that the people who write the programming have no actual input into how the algorithm
See, that's what I
actually
was talking
operates.
about
I think
earlier.
this is pretty...
You really have to be careful with the programmers of these things, and you'd have to do your own research. I really like checking in with people like Ben and Candace and stuff like that. I'll watch whatever news event, whatever is happening. And then I like to check and double check things. So like if something happens, I'll get one side of the argument, and then I purposely go through and try to get the other side of the argument just to see how people are accepting the information that's being given, or trying to figure out what happens in whatever event just happened, because so many people, there's a lot of very smart people that sit around and figure out ways to spin a story. So if you watch both sides report on the same thing, sometimes you can figure out what it is that they're trying to say, or maybe even what happened, but this is just telling me that ChatGPT is helpful. I've told you guys that I use it to translate my English to English that you guys would understand. So like when I'm writing like very important emails or reaching out to possible jobs and stuff like that, I want to make sure that I don't get too excited in my words. So I'll run a filter through ChatGPT. It's kind of like having a copywriter or like a second set of eyes on the message that you're trying to send to someone else. So I use it as a tool. I don't necessarily talk to ChatGPT about who I should vote for president, because not for anything, but you don't know. Again, you don't know who's feeding this information into ChatGPT. It's a good launching point, but always do your research. I don't know who is on the left. Maybe like a Brian Tyler Cohen or something like that. I go to them and I see what they're interpreting certain events to be, and then I make a decision off of that. I don't take people's word for it wholeheartedly. Not for news, not for my well-being, not for my jobs, not for anything. I do research and I figure things out and I go from there. So I suggest you guys do that too. Again, ChatGPT is a nice little cheat code. It's a nice little shortcut to get to somewhere where you want to be, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. You should have a collection of information that you get through and then that you siphon through, and then you can figure it out from there. But don't let anyone make up your mind for you. You make up your mind for you. And that's with the exception of going to coconutjustice.com to get some clothing that I think you would look good in. coconutjustice.com. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends. And if you like hanging out with me while I watch videos and work on creative projects, hit that subscribe button. And if you notice there's a little bell right next to the subscribe button, click on that so every time I come out with a new video, you'll be alerted. And with that, I'm out.